Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm finally finished college, which means I had the whole summer to blog and vlog. I'm so excited because I can finally do everything that I've wanted to do for the last 5 months. So today I want to talk about something that's a bit personal to me, but hopefully will kind of relate to everybody else in one sense or another. I want to talk about scars and our flaws, our blemishes, acne, things that we kind of hate about ourselves that we always wish we could change, and just about really why we should embrace them. I know it's tough when you have parts of you that you think that you need to fix. Just to give you a bit of background, I have a scar that goes from the top of my back right up here, just under my neck, to the very end of my lower back. I had scoliosis and I've had spinal surgery. I have another scar on my side going up here where I got some of my ribs taken out. So I have two huge scars on my back that took a long time to be happy with and to love. I absolutely hated them. I hated people looking at my back. I hated people touching me. But over the years, I think people were so fascinated by it. They always wanted to know, oh my god, that's so cool. What is that? Like, what happened to you? And I suppose scars kind of tell a story, which is cool in its own way. Some scars are funny, like I have a scar on my knee that looks like a lump of plastic, and everyone's always like, what the hell happened to your knee, if I'm wearing shorts or, a dress, and I'm like, oh, I actually tumbled about 10 foot down a hill and it got infected, and I just slapped a plaster over it and left it for about 3 weeks and I couldn't walk. So I always laugh when I tell that story, even though it's an ugly looking scar. From my own personal experience, it's hard to learn to love things like that. If I wear a backless dress, some girls look so classy, with low cut dresses and gowns, and I always think, oh god, my scar is on show now, and everyone's kind of looking at it going, what's wrong with her, what happened. But I think it's cool in a way because it kind of shows, wow, like you've been sliced open pretty bad, and you live to tell the tale. And I think that's important, to be able to kind of share the stories and learn to love all the flaws that you have. I also have rosacea on my face, which I was born with, and I've had a bit of laser done when I was a baby, and it's like a really flared kind of redness in my skin all the time. It's on the back of my arms as well. It's like chicken skin, they call it. It's kind of gross, but I'm over it. I'm used to it at this stage. But for years I always thought I had to wear foundation, and I always covered my cheeks because all my friends had just perfectly flawless skin, and I was really envious of that and kind of embarrassed that my cheeks were so red all the time. But then people used to say to me, everyone wants red cheeks, rosy cheeks, that's why we wear blusher, like you're blessed with that automatically. And I kind of thought, you know what, that is pretty cool. Over the years, I guess I've just become more acceptant of it and more comfortable in my own skin. I kind of have learned to love the redness in my cheeks. It's part of me, and there's not really much I can do about it. I mean, I could spend a fortune getting laser, but why would I want to change that? Like, people think it's cute, like my little rosy cheeks. So I don't tend to wear makeup that much anymore. I'd happily go out and about with no foundation on and stuff. And I just think that's really important, to be comfortable with, your flaws and your blemishes, like whether it's acne or whether it's like moles or beauty marks or scars, whatever it might be, we're covered in them, and they all kind of tell a story. We don't all want to look the same, with perfect skin and perfect cheekbones and, a flawless body with no marks, because, well, let's face it, it's boring. Like, every one of us is different in our own way, and it can be hard to deal with, and you kind of hate it or you're self-conscious of it. It's, I've dealt with bullying. Like, I've spent years in school being bullied over my back. I was called Hunchback, I was called Hunchback the Notre Dame, Brokeback Mountain, you name it. I mean, kids can be mean. I dealt with that growing up in school for many years. I know what it's like. And you start to hate yourself. You think that there's something wrong with you, and that, you know, the word flaw means that there is something wrong with you, but there's not. It's just part of who you are. The way I look at it now, 8 years later, is that I'm a survivor. I've been sliced open from top to bottom and lived to tell the tale. I think my scar is pretty cool. It's hard to deal with really bad acne or blemishes that are quite noticeable, but I think it's important to accept it yourself. And then what I found is you don't really seem to care what other people think. These things make us unique and they make us different. And I think that for every mark and for every spot and for every scar, they each kind of tell a story, and they each kind of shape who we are as a person. Whether it's from an operation or from an accident or from, you know, even if it's just a funny thing that happened to you, and you split yourself wide open, you know, they're all stories that we can share and we can tell, and things that we can look back on, and they kind of shape who we are. So I think it's important to love that part of us, and to learn to accept that part of us, and don't be afraid to show it off and to be proud of it. And like, we spend so much money on makeup and covering up, you know, covering up our flaws and covering up our blemishes and our spots and our beauty marks. But you know, there's nothing actually more beautiful than learning to love yourself. As cringy as it sounds, I truly believe that's true. So I'm going to share a picture of my scar for those who might be interested in seeing it, and I will put up a few pics at the end of this video of my cheeks, just to kind of show like that it is kind of bad. And while I can cover it with foundation and concealers and green concealers to calm the redness, I've learned to just not really be bothered about it. So I do think that's important, to learn to accept who we are. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or any comments or any feedback, please do let me know. And I look forward to making more videos, and I hope you liked it. Thank you.